Kevin Joy from Big Body Ball, and we got some news from Clemson, South Carolina, where Dabo Swinney has fired Wes Goodwin. This has been in the works for quite some time now, but it has been made official. Dabo is parting ways with Wes Goodwin. This comes at a time where he had two coordinators leaving with Tony Elliott and Brent Venables, and he had hired and promoted within. He took a firm stance, said this was an easy decision. He promoted Wes Goodwin from an analyst to defensive coordinator who had no previous experience as a coordinator. And he promoted Brandon Streeter, who was the quarterback's coach, to offensive coordinator to replace Tony Elliott. He has now, since then, just 3 years ago, has fired both of them. So he has really turned over a new leaf. He has really been evolving. I'm talking about Dabo Swinney right now. He has now looked elsewhere outside of his organization to hire at the coordinator level. He got Garrett Riley, who was the hottest coordinator on the market 2 years ago. And it took a little bit for their offense to get going, but last year they had a resurgence and their offense was humming. They were fantastic on offense. They moved the ball really well against the Texas defense. They ended up losing that game, but they have a really promising future with Cade coming back and a lot of these receivers coming back. And now they're looking to do the same thing on the defensive side of the ball. They're looking to hire outside. We'll see, but I think that's what they're looking to do, is to hire outside to replace Wes Goodwin. So it looks like Dabo is really starting to evolve. And on top of that, he's using the transfer portal, which we'll get into later in the video. But it comes at a pretty interesting time because I think Clemson is in a really good spot as into 2025. And I think this is a really attractive job, maybe more attractive than maybe some think. I think Dabo was looking at this as like, wow, I saw what Garrett Riley can do. Let's look outside. And we had a really poor defense last year. Who can come in to fix this? And they had a defense last year that was 69th overall in total defense. They were 85th in rush defense. They were way too talented in a really, not that great league to have those kind of defensive stats. And that has been their core. They had been more, their talent on their team is definitely skewed more defensively when you look at blue chip ratio and the 4 and 5 stars that are coming in. That's been their bread and butter, is defense. And it has taken a step back to now their offense, which seems to have figured something out. So they are way too talented to be mollywopped up front like they did against Texas, a team that has really struggled to run the ball. And they got absolutely worked. So there is a lot of talent on this defensive side of the ball for Clemson, and I think it makes it to be pretty attractive. On top of that, for next year, most of the offense is coming back. You have Cade announced that he's going to be coming back. You have all of the three best wide receivers coming back with Antonio Williams, TJ Moore, and Bryant Wesco. You're also bringing in a transfer, Tristan Smith from southeastern Missouri. So there's a lot to like about offensively what they have. And you know what? Look, Clemson is in the ACC and they're the top dog in the ACC. And quite frankly, their roster, the talent on their roster is far superior than really anyone else in that conference. So they are a big fish in a small pond. So they have a pretty good path to the playoff and to compete for conference championships every year. And you got a lot of young talent returning on defense. You got Peter Woods, who's coming back. You got T.J. Parker coming back. Wade Woodaz, Avion Terrell, Ashton Hampton. These are a lot of guys who have already been proven that can be successful and be really strong pieces on your defense. Those guys are staying. You also have guys who have shown spurts and were highly rated recruits. And you have Steph Green and Khalil Barnes. You have Kobe McLeod, Shelton Lewis. These are guys that are ripe to be developed. You're also bringing in transfer will help. That may help with the edge. Maybe bring Peter Woods back to the interior defensive line. So I think there's a lot to like about this Clemson team, in particular their defense as we head into 2025. I've seen some big names being thrown around here, like Jim Leonard, Tim Bakes, Tyler Santucci. If they can get any of those three guys, I think Clemson fans would be pretty ecstatic. I think that would be a step up from Wes Goodwin. I don't know if any of them are going to be as elite as Brent Venables. I think Venables he may have been the best defensive coordinator in, the past 10 years or so. Um, but there are some big names being floated around out there. I'll be very interested to see where they go from there. But I do think that this is a sign of Dabo evolving with the sport. And he has been the last of a dying breed. But he is now moving on and starting to evolve with the sport. Clemson is now going to be more invested in their football program than they ever have been. Their 110 Society collective has really stepped up. So they've looked really, really good, and they have a lot going for them moving forward. I'd be interested to see where they go with this hire. Follow Big Body Ball CFP on all socials.